Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's just going to have to happen from here, but that's okay. There is nothing going to get in our way of Amanda sharing her story. And sorry about the Facebook blurb or whatever, but we're here. So let me just wait for a few people to hop on to the live, and then we'll go from there. And I really, yeah, Becky, yay, Becky's here. Becky, can you hear us? Does this, I know it's kind of weird. It's giving a reflection of I'm getting a double reflection, but that's okay. All right, people are starting to join now. So I'm just going to hold my phone and we'll just do it via Zoom and then I'll upload it later for everybody to see.
Okay.
So, guys, I want to welcome Amanda. I'm so excited to be able to have her share her story and interview her. She's just inspiring. And right now, especially with everything that's going on right now, I think it's very important that we start getting into topics that are healthy. They're happy, they're joyful. I don't want to share scary stuff. And, I just want to get everybody out of that fear-based mind and just really bring in some joy and inspiration. And you are definitely one of them. And so glad that we connected. And I really just want, I want your story told because I think it's beautiful. I think what you're doing. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you. Just go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, and go ahead and share your story.
Okay. Hello. First of all, thank you so much for having me on here today. It's amazing, perfect timing. Everyone's in their homes and sharing some good news. So I hope some people what I have to say. And I just thank you so much for having me on. So my name is Amanda McCoy. I was in a snowboarding accident back in January 2018. So that was not super long ago, but right now I've pretty much adjusted to the new life and the new body that I have. So I was snowboarding and I went off a jump and I landed pretty badly and I shattered T12 of my spine and I was rushed to the hospital. And at this point in time, I didn't really know the bigger picture of what was happening to me. I was actually pretty calm throughout the whole experience. And because I didn't really know what was going on, I didn't even know what being paralyzed meant at the time. And so I was just kind of going with the flow. By the grace of God, I was so calm. And I had angels around me protecting me. There had to be. And so I was rushed to the hospital. And then I found out I was paralyzed. The doctor told me I had 1 in a million chances of ever walking again. And that's what most spinal cord injury patients are told, that they'll never walk again. And I've actually had the opportunity to go out and about and talk to doctors and give little presentations on how they should treat a patient with a spinal cord injury and be a little bit more optimistic and not so fear-based and say this is what your reality is going to be like. And I think that's really important with this injury. So rewinding a little bit, prior to my injury, I was very into holistic health, wellness, mind, body, spirit type healing on all levels. So going into this injury, I was so incredibly blessed to have the mindset and the tools that I did. Because if I didn't have the mindset and the tools and the lenses to see through, the perspectives that I have, I don't know where this injury could have led me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I could take away from this experience is that you never know what is going to come. So it's always important to do self-healing and self-work and do that inner work and do that inner healing and face your shadows and see what needs to be dealt with. So when you're faced with something that you didn't know was ever possible that could happen to you, you have the right tools to go through it. And I'm so grateful that I had those tools and the mindset and the lenses to see through, that I was able to go through this whole experience with grace and with joy and with compassion. Because a lot of people that it breaks my heart that I see with this injury, they go through it. and they just don't know what to do. Their whole world is shattered and everything changes. People don't realize with this injury, everything changes. Everything. It's
I
not
agree.
just not being able to walk. But it's also important not to compare things too. Like, yes, I had a spinal cord injury, but other people can go through completely other things and still go through this experience that can shatter their whole entire world. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a spinal cord injury. So I think it's so important to prepare ourselves and to just live a happy life as our highest self that we can possibly be. So we can move through life being prepared for whatever happens, the good and the bad, and live a healthy, happy life through all circumstances.
Amanda, you are, don't take this the wrong way, okay? You are very young to have this mindset right now. Like, my journey started when I was 39 years old, and my spiritual journey started probably about a year and a half ago, and now it's like really intensified.
For sure.
Were you always like this? Like, how did this even begin? And take us back to your, teenage years, high school years, and how did it even begin? Like, where did this come from?
Okay, so growing up, I was incredibly blessed to have an amazing, loving, supportive family. So we were talking about this earlier. I'm so grateful to have my mom and my dad to be a mirror reflection for me. So I was able to learn how to be kind, compassionate, and caring just through watching and observing them and learning through how I saw them. And I think that's really important to surround yourself with people who are loving, caring, and supportive. And I went through a time period where I wanted to experience life. I went out and partied. I went out and drank before I was 21. I've done all these types of different
Guilty.
I've experienced life. I haven't always been super spiritual, but I've always been compassionate, and I knew that I had that from my family. So that's why I reflected that back out into the world. But of course, I was a young teenager. I went out and experienced things, and I was following the crowd for a while. But then after times, I started reading books. I started getting into health, and just through I would dabble and research things, just curiosity. And I started to realize, what does my soul want to do? What is my life's purpose? Why am I just following these people because they're doing things? You know what I mean? So I started to really think, okay, what does Amanda want? Not what the people around me want. So then I started to do a lot of introspection and spend a lot of time on my own. And this was right before my injury too. A few years prior to my injury, I started to realize that, what does Amanda want? So I would do more things alone, and I would do research and meditate and do yoga, go to the gym, work on mind, body, spirit type healing. And then it led me to my spinal cord injury, and I knew what to do.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You are an old soul. You truly are, because not many people know this life. I didn't know this life. I did not know this life. I mean, when I was in high school, I partied. My mom and dad were divorced, so I wasn't blessed to have the family that you did. My mom worked so hard. She was a single mom raising me. My brother lived with my dad. And they were in their own world. My mom was trying to pay the bills and worrying about making it through, because she didn't have a lot of money at all. So she was just always gone. And it was just me. And so I just got it, I just explored, like you said. I went and had fun. I partied. We did thank God that Facebook wasn't around and social media wasn't around when I was, because my friends know, they know, you guys, who I'm talking about. You know that we would have definitely gotten into trouble if the social media was around. But then I had gotten, as soon as I graduated high school, I started dating my ex-husband now, and we were together for 23 years. And so it was like I stopped all that and then bam, I just became, I had a spouse and just life began. I became an adult, like just like that, which was great. It was fine. And then, so we spent 23 years together. And then when that ended, I was kind of angry. I was lost. I had no idea what personal development was. I had no idea what any of this was. Mindset, right? My biggest thing is mindset.
Sure.
It's having
It's
control
everything.
of your mind in order for you guys, for all of us to just be able to get through everything that we're going through. And
Mhm.
I was being so angry at what happened, and it wasn't his fault. Like, we just weren't meant to be together. But
Yeah.
when you don't have the mindset, you start blaming, you start hating, all of that stuff starts coming up, right?
Yeah.
And so I started drinking again. Went back to high school years again. And I never got to celebrate my 21st birthday like college
Okay.
students do. So I
Okay.
started celebrating when I was 39 and enjoying life.
Okay.
And that went on for about 2.5 years where I was not being a great role model to my children at all. I could not wait for
Okay.
them to go to their dad's house every other weekend for me to go out with my friends and party hard.
Wow.
I sometimes was like doing the walk of shame. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'd be coming home at 5 o'clock in the morning, still kind of drunk a little bit, and I'm like,
It's
one
amazing
day,
how things can change and shift, right?
one day I was driving home, and I was still a little buzzed, and hold on, excuse me,
Take a sip too.
water, and I was literally holding onto the steering wheel, and I was like kind of shaking and scared, and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, what if I get pulled over by the police and I get a DUI? What kind of role model? Like, how am I going to be able to take care of my children having a DUI? And plus, like, how would that look? So things started to click in my head then.
Mhm.
And then what really was the game changer for me was 2013. Okay, why do I keep getting a tickle?
So was I. I was getting a tickle in the beginning too.
Okay, guys, sorry. July 1st, 2013, Taylor and I were at the grocery store and we were checking out and she goes, Mom, you forgot something. And I'm like, no, I didn't. We have everything. She's like, Mom, you forgot your beer. That was it. It's like she saved me, man, because I
Wow.
quit cold turkey because of that. I go, holy shit, excuse me.
Yeah.
My child's watching me. And I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't want my children to know like that drinking was the way.
Wow, that's powerful that she picked up on that. They really do.
I feel like she saved me then, and now I'm
Mhm.
saving her now. Like we're bouncing off of each other. That's what I feel
That's
like.
beautiful.
So that's it. I stopped drinking and I lost a lot of friends. I had people tell me that they didn't want to hang out with me anymore because I wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, for
And it
sure.
hurt.
Yeah,
It hurt.
I can relate to
I
that.
was like, well, what the heck is that? Like, these are
Yeah.
life lessons that
The
we,
party pooper. I've been called. You're boring. You don't want to go out and have fun anymore.
because I wasn't dancing on the tables anymore. I'm sorry. But can you imagine to everybody who's watching right now and listening, can you imagine if I did not get my life in order, if I did not work on myself, go to these seminars, immerse myself in audiobooks and reading
Yeah.
personal growth and everything like that? Can you imagine if I was drinking at that phase and Taylor broke her back then? What kind of mom would I be today? How would I be able to handle? I would probably be drinking and on tons of medication just to
Yeah.
survive and crying and why me, poor me. I mean, my social media would be terrible. Everybody would be like,
Yeah.
poor Jenny, and, feeling sorry for me. So it's very, very important for us. Even you guys listening right now, it doesn't matter. Like, even though you may not be going through what Amanda or Taylor, what they're going through right now, but you guys are going through something. And how are you handling that? And like, what if something traumatic happened? Like, for instance,
Yeah.
now, right? Now people are losing jobs and all of this stuff. And I know a lot of people that are at home that are scared. Scared. They don't know what to do. They are petrified. They are literally living with the TV on, watching the news, what's going on, and they're just fear-based. They don't even know what to do anymore. And we're over here like living life as usual. I mean, we're taking precautions, right? I mean, we're
Exactly.
washing our hands, but Taylor still has to go check on May, her horse and everything. And, she's doing physical therapy from home and stuff. But I just find it so beautiful that you at this age, like that you already had your mindset right before you got injured.
Yeah. Yes. And of course, when I got injured, I've evolved even more than I ever knew was possible. So it never stops. But I think it's amazing that we have the choice now to decide. It's all a choice to decide if we want to evolve or if we just want to stay where we are. So, yeah, we're choosing to evolve now, but then when something happens that's traumatic, just look at it and be like, wow, this is going to help me evolve a lot. Where can this take me? It's all about perspective.
Amen. Oh, you guys watching, she is 23 years old. So you were 21 when you, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and you're just, again, just your vision, your everything about you, your perspective. It's so beautiful. Like,
Thank you so much.
I tell some of my friends that are your age, and I hate I cannot stand comparing ages. I have a lot more years, on you, and I've just, been through a lot more. But if I had this gift, if I had this wisdom that you have, that I have now, I mean, obviously I can't go back and change things, but holy cow, like my world would be completely different. So I'm just so happy that you are taking this on at your age, and just your life is going to be incredible. It already, I mean, look at what you've, in the past 2 years, how you've been able to endure spinal cord injury. And again, like you said, people don't understand how difficult it is. I mean, we don't like to focus on the negative stuff, but it's not easy going through what you and Taylor and other spinal cord injuries go through. They don't have the gist of it. I mean, one of the things Taylor was saying is, well, at least I don't have to worry about toilet paper, with all this stuff that's going on.
I said that before too. Oh, that's hilarious.
Sorry, that's a spinal cord injury inside joke there, but just thrown out there. So what does your day look like? So how do you see yourself? Are you still continuing to fight to walk again? Like, what does your journey look like? Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years from now?
Okay, so before I get there, rewinding a little bit back, knowing what I knew it was possible. When they told me I wasn't going to walk again, I knew in my head, he told me, you have 1 in a million chance of ever walking again. And I said to him, thank you for being honest with me, but I don't believe that.
At least you got that, because we got, you're never going to walk again.
Yeah, a lot of people get nothing. They say never. So at least I could be that 1 in a million, But I told him, I was like, thank you, but no thank you. And so knowing what I knew it was possible to walk again, because the power of the mind and the human body is absolutely incredible on many different levels. So I went with that, knowing what I knew, and I just believed, and I had faith and believing in the unseen. And so I went with that. I kept going, and I hopped around to a few different physical therapy places, because I'm really, I guess I could say, selective with the energy that we surround ourselves with. And a lot of the places I went to, it wasn't a high vibrational environment at all. And a lot of these places were training me to live in a wheelchair. And I didn't want to be trained to live in a wheelchair. I wanted to be trained to walk again and get my whole entire life back. And
you're speaking our story.
It's a lot of people's stories with this injury. A lot of people experience the same exact thing. I hear it over and over again. So I think it's amazing what you're doing to spread this message. You're an amazing mom to Taylor. And
thank you. Stop, you're going to make me cry. It's all good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I don't know where it came from because I wasn't always, well, I mean, I knew I had something when I was younger.
That's how I felt too. I don't know where it came from.
I knew I was different growing up at a young age because a lot of people would come to me and tell me their stories and they trusted me. They leaned on me a lot. And I was like, oh, maybe I should be a therapist or something. I wasn't, but I was like, no, I am not going to school for 8 years. No, it was all the schooling that really held me back from being a therapist or a counselor.
Yeah.
But like now I get to actually coach from home. I don't need a license to do this. I mean, I love being able to help and give back and coach people like from anywhere. I could go on vacation and still coach people. It's wonderful, but really taking your mess and turning it into a message is really what's important.
Oh, I love that.
It's I think, and I think a lot of people, because when we first started sharing our story, I got criticized so much. You're annoying. I can't, like, why are you so social? Like, why are you just spilling your guts out? Even talking about I don't want to say suicide attempt, but like, I have that story where I swallowed a bottle of pills and this is way before Taylor even broke her back, like way before my twins were born.
Yeah.
I was in such a dark place in my life. And I was like, I hated life. Absolutely hated it. I woke up every single day and I'm like, again? I didn't want to be here. And I remember waking up that morning after swallowing the pills and I was like crying and I was hurting because my stomach was killing me. And I was like, oh my God, God doesn't even want me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't even that. It's not that God didn't want me.
Yeah,
My purpose, my mission on earth was not done. Our story, like I was here for a reason and that's why he didn't take me. It was, so I finally, like, after I dried the tears and I was like, I literally looked up and I was like, all right, I hear you. I promise you I will never do that again. I am so sorry. But you have to show me why I'm here. You have to give me something because I don't know how much longer I can hold on. I can't live this Groundhog Day over and over and over again because I couldn't stand life at all. And little by little by little, it didn't happen like right away. Little by little, I just started but hello, like if that wasn't, and like this is why I'm here, this is why he didn't take me, because if it wasn't for me, Taylor, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, Taylor wouldn't be where she is today. My daughter saved me in 2013 and I'm saving her now.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And that's so true. We don't get to see the huge big picture. We can look at something and think this is so horrible, but you don't know what that situation is preparing you for, what that situation is going to lead you to, because we don't get to see the big picture. So how do we know if something is so bad when it could actually be the best thing that's ever happened to you and can completely transform you as a person?
Oh, I'd love to go into the doctor's offices with you. We need to go have some conversations. I promise I promise I'll be nice. I won't, I'm not a mean person. It just, this is my quote. And I love doctors, and especially right now, I am not bashing them at all. You guys, please do not hate on me for saying this. I respect all of them out there right now, especially at this time right now where everybody is risking their life. But what you guys went through with spinal cord injury, doctors are magical at saving lives. Like they have a gift, like they save so many people, but they also have a tendency to kill hopes and dreams. And that is what has to end. You know what? They say, oh, well, we can't tell you're going to walk again because you could turn around and sue us then. Okay, well, how about just not saying anything? How about telling everybody, I don't know what's possible, but like, how about Dr. Joe Dispenza? How about like Bruce Lipton? How about Greg Bray? Like all these people, right? So when we get done, before we hang up, before we end, because we still have more to do, we still have more to talk about. I do want to share some tips, like some books that you read, some,
awesome.
To share some things that people can actually share with their friends and family. Like, hey, what podcast do you listen to? What books do you listen to? Who should we follow? So I'll let you continue your journey.
So, where should I start? I have some notes here just in case.
Yeah.
Let's see.
My friend Lisa
So,
said no one can predict a miracle. Exactly.
oh yeah,
Miracle.
what are people in the comments saying? Anything interesting? Because I
Um,
can't see.
I know, I know. Let's see. Words of wisdom. This is the perspective. Yes, the kaleidoscope principle. Yeah. Okay. And honestly, I'll have to put on my glasses to read more. See, when you turn 40, you need the readers, but it's okay. But so your journey was you were going to share. So what are you doing for
All right, now for all right. So right now, I was bouncing around to different places trying to find a good environment with good energy. So eventually, I found Project Walk, and that's a place designed for people with spinal cord injuries that actually believe in you walking again. So I was there for a while. I kind of hopped back and forth because all of this is also out of pocket money. They don't pay for this for you. So that's another big thing that's on our plate with this injury. But that's besides the point. But I was going there and I was not able to lift my arms up or do this at all. Again, like I saw with Taylor as well. I would fall right over. I lost all my core muscles and all of those muscles came back. I'm able to do yoga now. I'm able to adaptive ski and I have great balance. A lot of my muscles came back and really think that is because the power of the mind and those who I surrounded myself with energy wise. And also, it has to do with what we consume on many levels, I think. A mind, body, spirit levels. Like, what are we feeding ourselves? Like, what are we listening to? What are we eating? What are we
Oh, nutrition is
thinking?
huge.
It's huge. Yeah, the
Huge.
vibration of the food that we put into our bodies, it affects us on a cellular level, on a DNA level.
A lot of
So,
people don't understand when you say I do, but when you talk vibration and good vibration, like explain that a little bit because some people are like, I what does that mean? What is high vibing? Good vibration. What does that mean?
so vibration. So I can say something to you that the words could be very mean, but depending on the tone I say it in, it can be taken in a completely different way. I think this is a good way of explaining it. So, depending on your tone of how you say something, it can completely change the whole way of how it's perceived or how you're portraying the message. So, I could say something really nice, but say it in a really low negative tone, and it's not genuine, you know? So that's a good way of like kind of explaining vibration in a physical sense that's easier to understand. But vibration is basically the unseen energy that you give off or that you radiate.
Ah,
And
yes.
everything's energy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, again, we know that. So beautiful. Even again, so it comes to like high vibing foods also, and what she's talking about there is eating healthy foods that's made by nature, that's grown,
Yeah.
not the stuff that is man-made, not the stuff that's in a factory, but actually what nature provided, nature intended. So they talk about
Yeah.
Skittles, or whatever, or eat the rainbow. Well, I'm sorry, but what they mean is actually strawberry. All your reds, your greens, your
Mm-hmm.
oranges, that
Nature.
food. But especially
Mm-hmm.
when you have a spinal cord injury, it is so important to feed your body, fuel your body with the right foods for
Yeah.
muscle, for bone, for energy, for all of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys struggle more than we do. And it's very important for all of us to eat healthy. But when it comes for you guys recovering, it's even more important that you guys are watching your intake.
Oh
Do you take
yeah.
supplements? Like what supplements do you take?
So again, leading off of that, the food that we eat. So our food. Oh, where was I going to go with this? So our body, if we eat a food that causes inflammation in our body will just go straight to that our digestive tract and try to heal that inflammation that we put into our body. But when our spinal cord actually needs to healing, we need to create space for all that energy and healing to go towards that injury rather than going to all these other places that need healing in your body. So that's why I think it's so important to have a clean diet with this injury. And so all the energy is focused on going towards the healing of the spinal cord rather than us creating other places of inflammation in our body from eating unhealthy foods, if that makes sense.
For me, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're speaking each other's language here. So,
yeah,
you guys, if you have any questions for Amanda or for me, put them in the comments below, and then I'll go through after it's done, and we'll answer them. So just feel free to just ask questions. Just comment below.
So I'm really into medicinal mushrooms too. So I'm sure you've heard of lion's mane mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nerve growth factor within the lion's mane mushrooms that help the nerves. And there's many other different supplements. Like I actually have a medical marijuana card that I use to help with nerve pain.
So does Taylor.
So constantly with our legs, we have a constant, I don't know if Taylor does, but I have a constant tingling feeling in my legs.
She actually does.
Shocks of different, does she get like shocks of pain too? Like kind of like electricity?
Yeah, she said, she actually has one spot on her foot that she's been able to feel since this happened, and it hasn't gone away, so it's still there.
Me too.
Yeah, she could close her eyes and I could touch it, and she's like, "Oh my God, could you stop touching me?" But yeah, so that's there. And then also the tingling and stuff. And so she hasn't been able to sleep well for a long time, but she never shared that with me. Okay. And then when somebody shared with her about edibles, and they said, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I would rather have her take edibles than smoke pot, just because in the lungs and everything like that. But again, to each his own. But so she tried it, and it was so funny because she was starving, right? She had the munchies and all that. I'm like, oh my God, I can't deal with this. Like, my kid is,
that's so cute.
She's so hungry. And I'm like, she's laughing. I'm like, oh my God, look at you. And then she woke up the next day and she said, oh, Mom, that was the best night's sleep I've ever had since I broke my back. So she doesn't do it every night, but she does. She'll do it a couple times a week. But man, she sleeps so good, and she wakes up and she's happy. She's actually in a really, really good mood because she doesn't have any pain.
Yeah, the pain, exactly. Yes. So I look at plants as medicine. Nature is our medicine, rather than going to all these pharmaceuticals. Like, they have their purpose. I'm sure they have their purpose for specific needs. Like when I was in the hospital, I was in a lot of pain at first.
Yeah.
So that medicine was a blessing to me.
Oh yeah, Taylor had the morphine.
I took that medicine as a gift.
Every 5 minutes or whatever, she kept hitting that thing.
Yeah, I was in so much pain. So that medicine helped me so much. But now I was off all medicine within 8 days in the hospital because I knew the effects of the medication affecting my gut health, and so I was off all medicines. Now I use plants as medicine. Yeah, and that works really well for me.
Yeah, Taylor's on nothing, and I also am not. I'm not on anything, and then so of course to have Taylor, and I'm like, oh, I know what it's doing to her organs. So actually, I'll share this with you now. But in the hospital, everybody loved us because we just always make people laugh, and we bring joy.
It was me and my family too.
Right? We bring joy wherever we go. I don't want it to be a sad thing. So they would also bring in that little white cup. Taylor would be sleeping, and like, here's her medication, right? And I researched every single one of them, what she needs and what she doesn't. I actually picked out the ones. I threw them in the garbage. I was like,
good for you.
So I let her have
I was the same way. I was like, what is this? What is this? Why am I taking it?
Yep.
When I was laying in the hospital bed.
They had a list when she was released to go home. We had a list of like 10 different medications that they wanted us to fill. And I'm like, no. The only thing that she was on was Norco when we left. And then it took her maybe a week or two to get off of it. And she's like, I'll just switch over to Advil. And then after that, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm like, yeah, you guys are rocking it. Like,
and again, that's like a thing with the mind too. We think we need this medication to take away the pain, but a lot of it's placebo.
Oh yes, right? Side and effect. You hear that with Dr. Joe, side effects and cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
But again, you guys, we're not putting down medication and pharmaceuticals, right? We're not, because there are some people out there who really do, they need it. And we're not telling you not to do it, but a year ago, I actually was on thyroid medication since 1999, and I actually worked like somebody. I flew somebody here, Lou Carletto, last year to work with Taylor, and I was talking to him, and I said, "Hey, what's your take on like this thyroid medication?" Because for me, it's not. I wasn't asking him if I should take it. I actually had a negative effect. Like I was hiding the pill bottle because I hated pills, and I was like,
Yeah.
and he said, so why? He said, you won't let Taylor take any medication. Why are you? And he's like, oh, because the doctor told you needed it. Do you need it? And so it's been a year that I was like, oh, screw this. I don't need it. So I threw the whole bottle away, and I'm on nothing. And again, here I am, guys. I'm not telling you to get off medication. You need to talk to your doctor about that. But this is my body. This is my soul. This is my life. And I know what's right. And I have never felt better since getting off that medication.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you talk because Tom wrote something here. So, what's up, lady? Great message about food. What are your thoughts on fasting, gluten, dairy, and red meats? Ooh, that's really good.
That's a good question.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Go ahead, share, and then I'll piggyback off you.
So, I eat a plant-based diet, so I don't eat anything that comes from an animal. And I was actually vegan is the term that's used, prior to my injury. So, and around my injury, they told me there wasn't as much inflammation as there usually should be. And I took that because of my plant-based diet, because my body already didn't have a lot of inflammation in it to begin with. So I think that's a really cool thing as well. But
I love it. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, so I eat a whole foods plant-based diet. So I try to stay away from processed foods. I recently cut out, I used to do gluten every so often, but I noticed that I have to be really careful with my digestive system now. So I noticed that gluten creates inflammation in my diet, in my system personally. And I believe it creates inflammation in many people's system, along with dairy and other animal products, because a lot of people are lactose intolerant. And I don't think we're meant to be consuming products from other animals. In fasting, but that's just my perspective. Everyone's body is different, of course. But this is just what's worked for me personally.
Exactly. You got to find what works for you.
Exactly. Everyone's different. So what resonates with you? And for me, with another perspective on the animals, an energy perspective, because I know you like the energy too. So I look at it as if we're eating an animal that was tortured in a farm and had a lot of sad emotions in them and a lot of fear in them. Right before they died, they had a lot of fear in them. Then we're consuming that animal that was basically consumed with fear. And now we're putting that into our bodies, and that could create fear within us. So that's another energy perspective that could be possible as well.
Can I share something with you? I just did a live video not too long ago about this, but never cook food when you're angry. Because you're projecting your energy onto that food, right? And then you're feeding it to your children or to yourself. And so if you're angry, you're having a bad day or something, and you're actually touching your food, you're cooking it. And I just feel like when I'm cooking for myself or my kids, like I love on that food. I'm smiling, right? And I'm like, and actually, if you want to say I pray on it, I don't know, whatever you guys believe. I know it sounds a little out there, but I want to send good energy to the food that's going to be going into my children's mouths also.
Yes. Yeah, every time before I eat a meal, I take a few minutes and I breathe and I bless and I pray over my food and I thank my food. And I love my food because it's going into my body to nourish me. So I do that every time too.
Another thing, I will never share a meal with somebody. I will never go out to breakfast, lunch, or dinner with somebody that I don't like. I will not, because that food is going into my body and I'm right next to them.
Ooh, that's good.
So their energy right there. So again, I know that some of this stuff is like way out there for you guys, but that's another thing that I will not
Yeah.
share a sacred meal, fuel. You know, it's not just food, it's fuel for your body.
Yeah,
I will not share that. I just won't do it. I'll be, we'll talk on the phone, but I've distanced myself from negative people. I don't,
for sure.
um, a lot has changed for me. I just stay very far away from people who upset me or try energy vampires.
Yeah, and usually ends up happening naturally too, because once we start to find ourselves and become more aligned with our self, people that aren't aligned with us just start to naturally dwindle away. And sometimes we have those people that want some of the energy and come back, but that's really cool. You know how people kind of it just flows.
Amanda, your energy, like your face, you're glowing. And here it is, like, you can't walk right now and going through what you're going through, but yet you got this smile on your face. Your energy is just amazing. And I love that about you, that you did not let this turn your life around in a negative way. And you're not feeling sorry for yourself. You're thriving. You're enjoying life.
Yeah,
You're loving it. And
I'm happy.
and I love that. I
I'm
absolutely.
happier than I was before my injury.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? She's happier now than before her injury. Did
Yeah,
you also did you work with Ken also?
I did work with Ken. Yeah,
I love him. I love
he was
Ken.
he was a big part of my recovery. He taught me that it's possible. He told me to stand up, and I stood up with that walker, and I didn't know I could do that.
Honestly, you guys, I
He was a blessing to me.
we worked with him a year ago, March 1st to March 5th. He was here, and we spent about $50,000 we fundraised to go to Panama for stem cells. And I'm not putting stem cells down because I do believe that stem cells work, but it's not a one-time thing. It's something you have to go repeatedly, but we don't have.
I got stem cells once too, and it didn't do much for me.
Yeah, she didn't really get any return back. They say 6 to 9 months, and she didn't. But whatever, we did it, and I'm so glad that we did. And if we had the money, maybe we would go back. But Taylor's like, no. But honestly, after working with Ken, she's like, I don't need it. I don't need the stem cells. So when he had placed his hands on her back, and again, you're T12, right?
Yeah.
Taylor's T5, so chest down. She
Oh
should
wow.
not. Right. Okay, look.
I didn't know that.
T5, T6.
I thought she was lower like me. That's incredible.
So after working with Ken and him placing his
That's
hands on her
awesome.
back,
Wow.
she started kicking her legs. She's sitting up on her own. Like, you put this
Mm-hmm.
girl on a weight bench, like just a weight bench, sitting there without anything at all, and she's sitting there, and people are just like, oh my gosh, like, wow, that's incredible. Like, how? And I'm telling you guys, just you have to believe there. If you don't believe in faith or healers or all of that, then don't even listen to this recording. Don't even, just get off the live right now, because you have to be willing to try anything. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be the one who's going to be like, oh, I'm worried about people taking my money, or like, you're going to get scammed. We know who is not a good person and who's not. We feel their
Yeah, you can
energy.
feel it.
But Taylor, literally day one last year, she cried her eyes out after he went back to the hotel. And I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? She's like, Mom, the amount of money that we spent in Panama should have went to Ken. Like, Ken only charged $2,500 to work with her for a week. And look
Yeah.
at the return that she got back.
Yeah.
I mean, she's loping on her horse right now. She's doing pulls and barrels and getting stronger every day. And it's like, it's amazing. And so we're actually going back to work with him in November. We were there in December, thanks to my
So
friend
good.
Lisa, and our friend Lisa and her family. They supported us to go there and helped us get to Florida to work
Yeah.
with him this Christmas. And then we're actually going November 1st to work with him again. But I believe
Oh,
it's just really, it's something that you can't stop. You cannot stop physical therapy. Like, you
mm-hmm.
cannot, you have to work
So I
on
gotta
your
keep
mind.
moving.
It's even us who who are walking around today needs to be active and physical and keep our heart pumping and sweating. And people don't.
Yeah, that's big.
Do you know Taylor looks at her brother sometimes. She gets mad. She's like, they're wasting their life in their room on video games and everything. And I wish I had their legs. I wish I had that, because I wouldn't be wasting my time in my room. And I said, Tay, they're teens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
That's kind of how I felt too well, somewhat, because I took such good care of my body prior to my injury. I was like, I was healthy. I ran every day. I went to the gym every day. I was active. I took such good care of my body to live a long, healthy life so I could be up and active when I'm older. And then all of that got crushed and destroyed, and I couldn't stand up on my own. So I was like, all that work I put in to live a long, healthy life, to get up and be able to stand and run around when I'm older, you just told me no, never again. So I can relate to that, but I believe in the healing. It's possible. It's possible. It may be slow, or maybe it could be just like that. I believe it could just be like that too. But you never know what's possible.
It's whatever God or the universe wants. It's whatever our journey, our story is supposed to be. And, Taylor had mentioned, she said, I know I'm going to walk again, but it's taking a lot longer than I thought. And I said, what kind of story would it have made if you just got up and started walking again? And she was like,
exactly.
Mom, you're a jerk. She's like, and I'm like, no, but we laugh. We're always
lessons to learn.
Exactly. We're always joking with each other all the time. Like people don't believe that we're mom and daughter just because the way that we talk to each other and we play.
That's how me and my mom are too. Oh, I love it.
It's how it should be. I'm not going to, she's amazing. Like she inspires me all the time. So, now what can you do now and what are you doing on your journey? So like, I know you're really into yoga. So are you still going to Project Walk?
So I am going to Project Walk still. Yeah, right now I was going 5 days a week, but because of the price, it's so expensive. Right now I'm just down to 1 time a week. But I'm active on my own. I go to the gym every day. I have a yoga table, a raised yoga table in my spare bedroom that I can go and get active on. I can go outside. I can roll around. I want to get one of those front wheels for my wheelchair, or like bigger tires, so I can go out and explore more. I've tried adaptive skiing because I was injured snowboarding. Okay. So for me to go back on the mountain, I kind of wanted to face that fear, to go out and see other people snowboarding and be like, wow, I used to be able to do that. So I kind of wanted to face what emotions would come up.
You haven't done that yet?
No, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so I went and I was very emotionally stable through that, surprisingly. So I was like, wow, I'm proud of myself. Like I've healed a lot throughout all of this. So I went and did it, and it was a good experience. I had so much fun. I picked it up really fast. So yeah, I'm doing all the things I can on many different levels, mind, body, soul. I'm always doing introspection. I'm always looking at myself and saying, where can I improve? Like, what are my shadows? What do I need to work on? And I think that's important, to look at ourselves and be like, okay, what can I do to evolve more and help myself, help other people, help themselves? Because we're all helping ourselves and growing and evolving. And I think that's the reason why we're here on this planet, to find our true selves, our true purpose, and to help us, help ourselves, help other people, help themselves. And it be reflections for each other for healing and growth and evolution.
I think it's huge that Taylor and yourself, just right when it happened, you're like, you didn't let it defeat you. Like you were like, I'm going to walk again. And you didn't have that thought process. And I'm like, at Taylor at 16 years old, I'm like, where did this come from? Like, oh my gosh. But when she told me she was going to walk again, I knew that day, I knew that night that my whole life path, owning a salon, all of that stuff, my path that I thought I was on was done. It literally, a roadblock, poof, right there. And it was like, nope, detour, you're going that way now. And I was ready for it. And I was like, she gave me the power that night when she told me, Mom, don't worry, I'm going to walk again. I'm going to ride again. She instilled some power into my soul in the ER that night. And I was like, all right, man, game on. Let's do this. So anytime anybody would come our way and say she's not going to walk again, I was like, get out of her room and never speak those words around her again, or we're going to have a problem. So I said, you want to talk about that stuff? You want to talk about your medical books, all that stuff? We can go talk outside, or you could just keep that to yourself, because this is our journey. This isn't your journey. You're just here to help her get through this stuff and all that, and I'll take care of the rest. Thank you very much. But you guys listening right now, words are very powerful. I was just
going to say that, yeah.
And be careful what you think. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you feel. Make sure it's always like just feeling good. Don't have negative self-talk or doubt, self-limiting beliefs, all of that stuff. Don't have that. You have to always trust your gut. What do you feel? What do you want? And don't give up. Do not let doctors control your future by their words.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know how much one word or one sentence can leave an imprint on our minds, a negative or a positive. So I think it's so important, like you said, to really choose wisely what we choose to project out onto other people, and even onto ourselves, like you said, with our thoughts. Because with our thoughts, we're habitual. We'll just go with the cycles of whatever we're thinking or whatever we're doing. So it's important to really be self-aware and observe what we're doing, what we're thinking, who we're letting into our energy, who we're letting into our surroundings, and really observe what's actually going on, and know that we're the creator of what we want to experience, and co-create with God.
For all the parents out there, I want you guys to listen to her. I mean, she's 23 years old. She's going to be 24 years old. Taylor's turning 20 next month. Their will, their drive, their strength, their resilience is unbelievable. And if something ever happens in your life, your loved ones or whatever, please just turn them on to, I would say, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, Greg Braden, so many.
You're naming all the good ones, yeah.
Right.
So good.
Turn on those podcasts and really tell your kids you could do anything that you want. But you guys have to go within. So it's not just about physical therapy, right? It's not just about physical activity. It is internal. You have to go inside.
Mostly internal.
The biggest part it's right here. It is inside. There you go. It's inside here. You have to heal within, and you have to trust and believe that anything is possible. And it's okay to have a bad day. It is okay. Yeah, Taylor will have a bad day. She will cry, whatever. It's done. It's over. That's it. But she gets back in the saddle again, right? She doesn't
let that create a habit, right?
Nope.
Yeah, because what we feel inside will reflect externally.
And surround yourself around positive people. Unfortunately, you may have to let go of family and friends in your life that are just Debbie Downers. I know it's hard. You can love them. Oh my goodness, don't ever stop loving them. But it doesn't mean that you have to have dinner with them or have phone conversations with them all the time, because it's draining you.
Mm-hmm. Having discernment around who we allow our energy to. Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you right now, I would have breakfast, lunch, dinner with you any day, anytime, because I love your spirit. I love your soul. I love your energy. It's just contagious, and it's beautiful. And that's just people like you. Like, that's who I want to surround myself around, is the believers, the achievers, the fighters, the ones who will never give up. And like I said, if you're having a bad day, we're here for each other, right? I'll let you cry, but I'll be like, girl, wipe that stuff off. You got this stuff, but we're here for each other.
Yeah.
So, do you mind, would you mind saying, how are your parents through all of this now? How are they dealing and everything?
Yeah, so in the beginning, my parents, again, they had no idea what came with this spinal cord injury. My mom actually had to quit her full-time job to help take care of me and help me adjust to life. And so in the beginning, my dad was actually pretty he's the dad. He wants to take care of me. He wants to fix everything. And this was something that he wasn't able to fix. So he just wanted me to be okay. That's just a father's love for him to me. So I actually had to give him a few pep talks when I was in the hospital bed to help him out a little bit. And we would sit there together as a family and we would listen to positive music and just sit and be and give each other encouragement. And so we were there for each other. And we were close prior to my injury as well. So not as close as we are now. This injury definitely brought us together, which is a really beautiful thing because a lot of the times it can tear families apart. So I'm really blessed for that. But they they were they've evolved a lot, especially my dad. He's evolved so much throughout this whole experience. So it's been really beautiful to watch. And we basically learned from each other because I was very positive throughout this experience. It made it a lot easier on them to be very positive. Because if I wasn't how I was back then, they would have been worried about me, but they didn't have to be worried about me because they knew I was okay. So it kind of reflected back and forth, and they were there for me. They were the rock for me. They were there for me. If I needed anything, I knew I could go to them. So it kind of reflected back and forth with me and my parents. We were there for each other and we reflected that energy back and forth.
Wow. Taylor did the same thing. You were consoling your dad. Taylor did the same thing. People would come in, and I actually want to share this when we were in the ICU, and I'm actually writing this. I'm in the middle of writing our story, our book, and this is a chapter in there, right? I'm like, oh, it's so emotional, like going through this again and rewriting the chapters, and I start crying again because I'm just like, holy cow, taking me back 3.5 years ago. But there were family would come in and they would start crying over her like she was dying or something. And I literally just had to text everybody and say, you guys, I love you all for your support and stuff, but you're not allowed in the hospital anymore if you're going to cry around her. She is literally consoling you. She's smiling. She's uplifting, all of that, but you're coming in and you're crying because why? Like, are you putting yourself in her situation? Are you thinking, oh my God, what would I do if I broke my back and my legs weren't working? What was it? And they were just fearful and probably feeling sorry for her. But if she wasn't crying, if she wasn't, feeling down on herself, but yet she was smiling and like the nurses, doctors, they all loved her. It was just this glow about her. They're like, you do know what happened, right? And so
I can relate to that.
It was hard for me to do that, like for me to text the family and say I'm sorry, but you're not going to be welcome if you cry. I mean, you're going to have to leave. I'm sorry.
No,
but
I can relate to that because I had people come up to me and say, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And I'm like, don't be sorry for me. I'm okay. I don't want that worry to be placed on me. Because I'm not worried.
Yeah, people will say, I'm
sorry for me.
When I share our story, they're like, I'm so sorry, and I said, oh my God, don't be. I'm like, our whole, like so many doors have opened. We've met so many beautiful, amazing people through this journey. And I'm like, don't ever feel sorry because look at her. She's alive. She's riding again. She's working her ass off to walk again, and she's not stopping. She's unstoppable. And I love that. So it's like, don't feel sorry for us because our whole life path had just changed and we went on to something else. And you could feel sorry for us if there was depression and like you just don't want to get out and you don't want to do things. I mean, that's something to feel sorry for. But man, you guys are just amazing, amazing human beings. Like, it's just beautiful to watch you, hear your story, see Taylor, what you guys are going through, and you are not letting it stop you from living your life. And you're smiling and you're glowing, and it shows. It shows that you're happy. And I'm not saying you're happy because you broke, you got injured. I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean.
I have a choice. I could be sad I could be sad if I wanted to, but I obviously, who wants to be sad? We all have a choice to decide.
Exactly. Well, we have been on for a pretty long time. And you guys, if you have any questions for Amanda or myself or for Taylor, please comment below. I'll go through this after I post this. But so we talked about what happened. We covered how did you get through it. And I guess really just basically, what is your why? Let me ask you, what is your why?
My why is, again, it goes back to like why we're here on this planet, on this earth. Like, what is our soul's purpose? And I think it's so important. Like, we're all here. Some souls are lost and don't know what they're doing. And I mean, that's okay because that's their journey. They'll get to that point of alignment when they need to. But it's really about, okay, how can I stand in alignment in my true self and my true purpose and reflect that out into the world so other people are allowed to do the same thing? Because when we're standing in our true purpose and allowing ourselves to be aligned with the Christ within us, with the God within us, with the higher power, whatever way you would like to perceive that, other people are able to see that and they're like, wow, I want to be like that. And it reflects back without us even having to do anything. Just the presence of one person being aligned in their purpose can reflect to someone else and say, oh, I want to do that too. So it creates a ripple effect throughout the whole, and that can just go on and on and on to another person throughout the world. And I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Really leaving that legacy. And you have such a long time to be on Earth that you really need to write a book too.
Everyone tells me that.
So, if it's kind of going back to religion, I guess, and I don't want to bring that up, but like the Bible was written and all these other books were written. And if they weren't written, then how would we know about this other life out there? Right?
Yeah.
Spirituality, The Alchemist is an amazing book to read.
Good book, yeah.
Very good. If I know people are so inspired and moved by your story, is it okay for them to follow your IG or?
Of course, yeah.
So you guys grab a pen and paper, write this down, and then I will also send it to me, and then I'll put it in the comments below so they can follow you, connect with you either IG, Facebook, whatever you want.
Okay. So my Instagram is Amanda.McCoy, MCCOY, and then the _. And my Facebook is, I actually have a Facebook linked to like my recovery aspect. So that's Amanda's Journey to Walk Again.
Perfect.
And then my other Instagram account actually is Amanda on Wheels.
Perfect. Oh, how about any book suggestions, or for people there are some people that they need some help, they need some inspiration, they don't know where to turn. What books, what other recommendations would you have for them?
Recommendations that I wouldn't recommend necessarily any books because I know there's a lot of books on a wide range of topics. So I think that would be personalized for someone, but I would tell somebody to start just sitting with yourself and going within. I think that's where the most information can be found. Just sitting with yourself and kind of having a conversation with yourself. What do I want? And then go from there. And anyone's always welcome to reach out to me. And I'm sure with you too, and ask for advice or ask for any specific tips or books or what would.
Yeah, but so I want to ask this. So what would you do for somebody who is actually depressed and doesn't think that it's possible, and they don't have supportive parents because the parents they're not healed, right? They're not doing this work. They're the ones who, there are some lost souls. And what we mean by that is like, you you guys are living my old life, the Groundhog Day, right? You're waking up, you're paying bills, and that's it. You don't believe in a higher power or a higher purpose. So for the ones that are depressed and just kind of like, oh, my life is over, what would you say to them?
I would say go talk to someone, express yourself, because once we speak how we're feeling, we can really visualize what we're actually saying and really reflect on it and see the big picture of what's going on. When if we're just speaking to someone, having someone hold space for you to talk to, going to get help, taking little steps that can change your normal routine, just getting out of your habitual routine can make a huge difference, you know? So just taking little steps here and there to make a little change will lead to bigger changes, I believe.
I think one other thing that they could do is face or actually heal from what happened. So you faced your mountain, right? You went to your mountain where
Go
you
to the roots.
Right. And we were working with somebody and they had recommended that Taylor actually go see the horse that threw her off, but the horse is gone. So we don't know. So she wasn't able to release that, but within meditation, she could go in and she could do that way. But other than that, if you are injured by something, you know, whatever it may be, even if the person or thing or whatever it is not around, write a letter and forgive them. Let it go.
I love that. Forgiveness is huge.
Release it out of your soul, right? Mm-hmm. Once you write that letter, once you release that out of you, you'll start to feel so much better and a lot of things will start changing for you.
The weight will release off your shoulders. It's so true. Once you get that forgiveness in there, even if it's forgiving yourself.
Just know that somebody said to me a couple of years ago, they said, Taylor was given a gift. What are you going to do with that gift? And at first I was like, screw you. What do you mean gift? This isn't a gift. And then I'm like, wait a minute. There's a bigger picture here. That's not what he was saying. And I was like, wow. He's like, so are you going to accept that gift? And what are you going to do with it? Are you going to change your, like, you know, you're going to be sour about it and just throw it away? Or are you going to go share that gift with everybody?
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're just, you know, we're owning it. You were given you were given this for a reason. Now, what are you going to do with it? Exactly. Do not feel, not for you, but do not feel
by accident.
We won't even use that word anymore. I won't use accident. You know, we're just like this.
Yeah.
Our life's purpose, our life's work, our life's journey, whatever it may be. You guys, Amanda, you are amazing. Thank you so much. Everybody that's been on here, I love you all for staying on this long. I'm so grateful for all of you guys being on here. I couldn't wait to share her message and get it out there. But any questions, tips, anything you want to know, just after I upload this video, just send us messages. Amanda, myself, please, Taylor, whatever. But you're beautiful. Oh,
thank you. So are you.
Thank you. And
so is Taylor.
Your story, thank you. Your story just needs to be heard by many more people, especially in the spinal cord injury world. You know, I just want to give people hope again and not give up, because they do need to continue physical therapy and working on themselves and not give up. I mean, it's okay that if you just don't want to do it anymore and you're just like, you're happy in your chair, that's
our choice.
That's exactly. That's on them and that's their journey and that's where they are. But you guys could go far, man. Miracles happen. There's a man walking after 25 years, John McCoy in Australia, 25 years in a wheelchair. So he's walking without he has a little, you know, wobble a little bit.
Anything is possible.
But he's not walking with any canes or any nothing. He's walking 25 years. I'll post that link in the comments. Anything that we have,
I would like to see that.
We'll share with them. So incredible story also. So, all right, you guys, I love you all. Thank you so much. And I'm going to stop the live video. Thanks, guys. Let's see.